What up, dude bros? I'm Frank. This is another series overview going over the Mega series in its current form. So going over the ammo first, then each of the blasters, show you each of them shoot just to remind you how they work, and then go over my top picks and sort of my overall notes on this series. First, what makes a Mega Blaster the Mega? Well, because it says Mega, dummy. Just kidding. That was mean. That was mean. But super serial, Mega Blasters shoot Mega Darts, which are a little bit bigger than normal Elite or Micro darts. Micro generally just refers to a smaller width compared to this big fat dart thing. See how much bigger they are? That sound though. So bigger is better, right? Not really, or not at all, actually. You might be assuming a bigger dart travels further, it has more energy, it'll have better stopping power. You might have heard something like that with firearms. Does it transfer over to Nerf? No. While the initial velocity of most Mega Blasters is actually a little bit higher than similar Elite Blasters, it doesn't really hurt more to get hurt by them, they don't fly a whole lot further, and they don't really have any superior flight characteristics. So overall, you don't really have any good advantage to using Mega Darts. Because of that, I wouldn't say go buy a Mega Blaster if you're looking for a superior performance blaster when you're like getting really competitive in Nerf and you need to defeat somebody, or if you're playing HVZ and you really want to slay a bunch of zombies. These aren't really great for that. They're super fun though, so if you're a plinker or you're just having fun in your basement, which I would say the vast majority of Nerfers are just trying to have fun, they don't really care if they win or lose, and I would say that's what Nerf is really about, but there are a lot of competitive people that sort of use these and they think, oh, I'm shooting a whole lot further, or I'm shooting a whole lot harder. You're really not, sorry. And the big drawback I see with these is because their performance is so similar, why would you trade off that capacity? You can carry so many more micro or normal modulus or elite darts in the same space, so you have smaller, thinner magazines given the same capacity, or if you have a dump pouch or a cargo pocket where you're carrying your ammo, you can always carry more elite or modulus darts than the Mega darts. That's just my view on the dart debate, micro versus Mega. Although you should definitely pick up a few Mega darts just so you can do this. I want to make that my new text tone, so when I get a new text it goes. That's kind of my overview on the ammo. Now I'll super brief go over each of the blasters if you forgot what each of them do. In no particular order, mind you. First up, the Mega Centurion. This, to my knowledge, was the first Mega Blaster. It does have a magazine that's included. This holds 6 rounds. The Centurion is a spring-powered blaster with this mega long draw stroke, as you can see there. Decent firing velocity. The performance isn't fantastic. I made a review on this a long time ago, and it was a pretty negative review because it jammed up and it's kind of impractical. It's so big and it carries 6 darts. This has pretty much the same performance, and you don't have to carry around this stupid big thing and make reloading really obnoxious, and you can't really find these mags separately. So reloading is taking out the magazine, hand loading the magazine, and then putting it back in, which kind of defeats the point of using a magazine. Instead of doing that, you can just, use a cylinder system and reload without taking anything out. I make fun of the Centurion, but it looks cool if you want to be a sniper. There is your option. Sniper in your head, of course. If you're trying to actually long-range shoot in Nerf, they all shoot pretty much the same range. Next, the Roto Fury. This guy is a pump-action blaster that holds 10 rounds in its rotating cylinder. This doesn't pop out of the blaster, you just load it by the side. The same thing I just complained about the Centurion is not present with this one, because while you're firing, pew-pewing, you can just, sit there and load in from the side like that. Pretty fun blaster, pretty quick rate of fire because it is pump action. Pretty decent capacity for the Mega line. 10 rounds is not really awesome capacity for like an Elite Modulus or, anything that shoots the micro darts, but for Mega, 10 rounds is a lot. Looking on the table, that's the second highest capacity here, because the Mastodon's freaking awesome. I'll save that for last. Roto Fury, pretty fun. The Mega Magnus was like the second or maybe third, I don't remember, one of the first Mega Blasters, which was immediately overshadowed by the Cyclone Shock. Now that the Cyclone Shock's out, there's really no awesome reason for the Magnus. It only holds 3 darts and it has an internal magazine. It is a magazine because it's a spring-loaded system. It's just built into it. It's not removable. So you just push the Mega darts through these little lips, which kind of reminiscent of, never mind. Whoa. The Magnus only holds 3 rounds, and it's really large. They have a tack rail on the bottom, but not up top. Still don't know why they've done that. I mean, I've complained about it with like the Recon or Retaliator. When you have a top priming thing, it is obnoxious to have an optic up here, but to put one on the bottom and then not put one on the top, I don't get it. Shoots pretty hard though, and it holds well, but completely overshadowed, in my opinion, by the Cyclone Shock. The Cyclone Shock is a little bit wider than the Magnus, so if you're trying to holster it, I guess that would be a good reason to have this, but still not a good reason to have this. Way to contradict yourself, Franklin, you idiot. Shut up, Franklin. Get out of my head. Cyclone Shock holds 6 darts. This is effectively the strong arm, or the Maverick in the Mega line. It's similar in concept. The cylinder doesn't pop out of the blaster or anything. It just rotates and then you feed in from the front. Pretty fast, very easy to use. This is a great, if you really into the Mega Blaster and you want a loner, this is one that's hard to screw up if you've never used a Nerf gun. You won't jam it or, pinch your finger in something like this. Anytime I give somebody a magazine-fed blaster and it's a Nerf gun and they've never really played with Nerf guns, they'll jam it almost immediately. You're like, I don't know when to prime it. I don't know when to put the mag in. And it makes sense. It doesn't take that long to learn, but there is a learning curve. With this, super easy. That is the Cyclone Shock. These little backups, the Hot Shock and the Big Shock, both single shot pistols, very similar in performance and sort of the concept. They both actually have a little ammo slot right here, so you can carry an extra dart up there. Both have one barrel, you front load, same on both blasters, then you pull back the priming handles, and pew pew. I think both of these chrono results were 54 feet per second, which is, these are very similar blasters with just a different shape, I guess. I did complain about the grip in my review on this because it's a little small, especially for the Mega blasters. If you want to holster the blaster, the Hot Shock would be easier because that's probably going to fall out of your holster. It doesn't have enough length in the front there to stay in. But if you're putting it in like a cargo pocket, this might be better. I would only recommend these as like backup shots, not really as an active secondary. If you want an active secondary, I'd recommend more ammo at the ready, one of these blasters. Still, you have double the capacity for just a small amount more width, so maybe just, you know, deal with it, or just not use the Mega blasters if you're worried about it. So those are the backup pistols. Now onto these goofy things, the bows. If you're like, hey, I want to be really different and use Mega instead of Micro, and then you're like, okay, I'm not different enough using a spring Mega. I have to use a, well, these are spring, but you know, a bow Mega. I don't like triggers, whatever. You know, super hipster status. Can't do what anybody else is doing that's reasonable and logical. Lightning bow is a single shot bow. Works like that. I would not recommend this to pretty much anybody that actually wants to shoot their blaster. If you just want to look at it and you don't want to use it and you think this looks really cool, maybe that would be for you. Other than that, I don't recommend this one at all. If you must have a bow, because for whatever reason you just don't like triggers and practicality, the Thunderbow is a decent option because it has a higher capacity. This one holds 5. It's still very oversized considering it only holds 5 rounds. I would say the Cyclone Shock is a better blaster, and that's a lot smaller. It doesn't have freaking bow arms. Thunderbow, Lightning Bow, those are the bows. Yeah. Lastly, the Mastodon. Based on the introduction, you might be able to tell it's positive opinion. Again, I still wouldn't say this is a really war practical blaster. It's really heavy, really big, bulky, slow to reload, well, relatively. But shooting this thing is tons of fun. It's just so much fun. You just feel like freaking Rambo. Yeah, it's a blast. I went on and on about it in my review, and once you see it shoot, if you see that and you're like, yeah, not for me, then good, it's not for you. But if you see it and you're like, whoa, I'm rocking a half-mast right now and you have to go buy one, then go buy one because you'll have fun with it. It's only inappropriate if they understand the joke most of the time. Whoop! Should have mentioned, flywheel, fully automatic blaster. You pre-rev with the flywheel switch, just like most of the flywheel blasters, and then hold down the trigger and it just goes full auto for 24 rounds. If you forget your capacity, it's written right there. Or just, you know, hold down the trigger until the pews stop pewing. Pew, pew, pew. Fun blaster, tack rails all over the place, you know, for your tactics because it's not heavy enough. So you have to make your pistol. Doesn't have a stock, it's pistol. Yay. I need a tack light on my pistol. And there's a rail for the tack light if you need it. Super fun blaster, very Mega. And Mega's even bigger than most of the Mega print. It's funny when something dwarfs the Thunderbow because this is just a stupid big blaster. Like when Vin Diesel stands next to Dwayne Johnson, you're like, whoa, Vin Diesel looks small. That's weird. Dwayne Johnson's just freaking massive, like a mastodon. That was a brief overview on each of the blasters. If you'd like more details or my opinion or, you know, my whole review on each of the blasters, search the name into my channel or onto YouTube. It will probably pop up within the top 10 results, hopefully. That was a short and sweet summary. Again, check the date of the video if you're like, oh, Coop, you forgot about this thing that I don't yet know about because time travel, I don't know. These are the ones that are out right now. So let's see them all in action out on the range. Other Franklin, to you, bro.
Centurion. Hot Shock.
Okay, I am determined. Here we go.
Big Shock. Cyclone Shock. Ricochet. Magnus. Off to a good start. Having bad luck. Lightning bow. Not expecting to hit anything. Most effective way to use the lightning bow. Thunderball. Oh, come on. Roto Fury. Reset for the Mastodon. Woo! Because what's better than one Mastodon? Two. Let's do it. That was so incredibly satisfying.
Yeah, so that's how they all work, or don't work, depending on your definition. Now to my top picks. I have 3 of them. I don't really want to set a number that I have to assign to each series and say like top 10, top 5, whatever. It's kind of relative, but there are 3 here that I really like. Try to guess which ones. I'm waiting. Try to guess which ones. I'm just kidding. Starting with my 3rd favorite Mega Blaster, the Roto Fury. Smooth, fast, simple, no batteries, no hassle, decent capacity, you know, it's fun. Number 2, the Cyclone Shock. For the same reasons, relatively high capacity, smooth, small. That is number 2, the Cyclone Shock. And my absolute favorite, the Lightning Bow. No, just kidding. The Centurion. No, just kidding. Neither of those, for sure. The Mastodon. I'm sure you all guessed it because my review was super positive. I love the Mastodon. It's easily my favorite Mega Blaster. That's, well, number 1 on top list. You probably guessed that, though. The emotional response when you're just pew-pewing, that just feeling of awesome nerfy power. It's hard to articulate. If any of your friends have one, ask them to shoot it, and you'll feel the power. Feel the power! Especially when you dual wield them. Well, it's kind of tricky with like that, see? Mastodon is easily number 1 pick in the Mega line. It's expensive though, and I wouldn't recommend it to people who are like active nerfers or you play in groups. It's really burdensome to use this in an actual game. Reloading it, carrying it, pointing it, shooting it, and not getting shot at because it's bulky. It's a hassle, but if you shoot at targets or cups or just plink around or whatever in your house, super fun. But again, pretty pricey. And the cost of those stupid batteries will add up as well. That is the overview of the Mega line. As I opened though, I really don't use Mega Blasters that often when I'm, you know, in Nerf wars or even just plinking. I have a lot of micro darts, a lot of magazines, and a lot of gear for that. They just don't have the same equipment and options for the Mega Blasters. I like to add barrels, I like to add stocks. They don't have the stock attachment points, they don't have the barrel attachments. It's just not as modular and tactical and fun. If you're not not into that stuff and you just sort of take it out of the box and play with it, these are going to be equal to the modulus blasters or Elite or the other ones. Well, in that regard, I already complained about the size and all of that. Still tons of fun, and that is totally what it's about, and I'm not trying to say you have to be competitive and you have to win to play, but if you're already playing, might as well win, right? Like when I shoot cups. I'm in it to win it, because those cups could shoot back at any point. Hopefully my overview has helped you out understanding the Mega line if you're interested in making a purchase or you just wanted to see them all work and me shoot cups. Hopefully it was worth viewing. That's the end of the video. Thanks so much for watching. As always, stay tactical. Tactical size comparison.